The Galactic Council chamber fell silent as Ambassador Chen Wei stood before the assembled representatives of 47 species. Her modest human frame appeared almost comical, next to the towering Korthak delegates and the crystalline Vex-High entities that hummed with barely contained energy. "The Terran Federation requests membership in the Galactic Council," Chen announced, her voice steady despite the weight of representing 4 billion humans across dozens of colonies. Council Prime Zethvar, a Korthak whose scales shifted from blue to contemptuous purple, leaned forward on his ceremonial perch. "And what does this infant species offer as proof of worthiness? The trials require a demonstration of military capability." Chen had anticipated this. Every species seeking council membership faced the same test: survive an encounter with the council's enforcement fleet. Most brought armadas. The humans had sent one ship. "We offer the Defiant," Chen replied simply. The chamber erupted in chittering, growling, and harmonic vibrations that passed for laughter among the assembled aliens. Zethvar's scales rippled with amusement. "One ship? Your entire species sends one ship to face our enforcement fleet of 300 vessels? We find it sufficient," Chen said, maintaining her diplomatic composure. Admiral Caraxus of the militant Threk Empire slammed a clawed appendage against his speaking podium. "This is insulting. The trials are sacred. Send this primitive species away before they embarrass themselves further." But Councillor Vexenai, whose crystalline form pulsed with curiosity, interjected with melodic tones. "Perhaps we should observe what they consider sufficient. It may prove educational." Zethvar's scales shifted to deep red with anticipation. "Very well. Let the humans learn the cost of arrogance." 3 hours later, the council gathered in the observation chamber overlooking the neutral zone. Through the massive transparent, aluminum viewports they could see the enforcement fleet arrayed in perfect formation. 300 ships ranging from nimble destroyers to massive dreadnoughts, each one capable of glassing a small planet. And there, impossibly small by comparison, hung humanity's offering. A sleek vessel barely 2 kilometers long, its hull a matte black that seemed to absorb the light from nearby stars. "I almost feel sorry for them," Admiral Caraxus mused, his predatory eyes gleaming. "That little ship won't last 30 seconds against our fleet." Chen stood beside the council members, her hands clasped behind her back. "Admiral, you may want to reserve judgment." Fleet Commander Drakthos, a veteran of 100 campaigns, opened communications from the flagship. "Unknown vessel, you are facing the Galactic Council Enforcement Fleet. Surrender now and you will be treated with honor before your inevitable defeat." The response came in calm, measured tones from Captain Sarah Martinez aboard the Defiant. "This is Captain Martinez of the Terran ship Defiant. We're ready when you are." Drakthos blinked his 4 eyes in surprise. The human's voice carried no fear, no desperation, just quiet confidence. "Begin the trial," he ordered. The enforcement fleet moved forward in a coordinated assault pattern perfected over millennia. Energy beams lanced out from dozens of ships, converging on the human vessel's position. The observers in the council chamber leaned forward, expecting to see debris. Instead, they saw something impossible. The Defiant simply wasn't there anymore. One moment it was in the crosshairs of 300 ships, the next it had appeared 5,000 kilometers away, completely unharmed. "How did they—" Zethvar began, but his question was cut short as the human ship opened fire. What emerged from the Defiant's weapons arrays defied everything the Council knew about warfare. Instead of the familiar energy beams or projectile weapons, space itself seemed to twist and fold around the enforcement fleet. Ships that had dominated the void for centuries began to crumple like paper, their hulls folding in on themselves, as localized gravitational fields compressed them to nothing. "Impossible," whispered Admiral Caraxus. "They're manipulating space-time itself." Within 30 seconds, 100 ships of the enforcement fleet had simply ceased to exist. The remaining vessels broke formation, firing desperately at an enemy that danced between dimensions, appearing and disappearing at will. Captain Martinez's voice remained calm over the communications channel. "We don't wish to destroy all of you. This is merely a demonstration." Drakthos, veteran of countless battles, felt something he had never experienced before. Terror. His flagship, a dreadnought that had laid siege to entire worlds, was being systematically dismantled by weapons that folded space around it. All ships retreat. Full retreat. But retreat was impossible. The Defiant had somehow locked the entire area in a spatial distortion field. The remaining ships found themselves trapped, unable to jump to hyperspace, or even move at normal speeds. "Your technology," Chen said quietly to the stunned council members, "is based on manipulating energy and matter. Ours is based on manipulating the fundamental forces that govern reality itself." The demonstration ended as abruptly as it began. The spatial distortion ceased, and the Defiant hung motionless in space, surrounded by the twisted remains of what had once been the most powerful fleet in the galaxy. Of 300 ships, only 50 remained intact, their crews traumatized and their systems failing. Council Prime Zethvar's scales had turned white with shock. What are you?" Chen turned to face the assembled delegates, her expression serene. "We are humanity. We are the species that looked at the impossible and called it Tuesday. We are the descendants of beings who split the atom, walked on their moon, and decided that the speed of light was more of a suggestion than a law." She gestured toward the viewport where the Defiant continued its patient wait. "We spent 300 years learning to bend physics to our will while you mastered conventional technology. We discovered that reality itself could be rewritten, if you understood the underlying code." Councillor Vexnai's crystalline form pulsed with what might have been awe. "The spatial manipulation. You're not just using gravity wells, you're editing the fabric of space-time itself." "Correct," Chen confirmed. "What you call impossible, we call engineering. What you call magic, we call Tuesday's homework assignment." The chamber fell into stunned silence. Finally, Zethvar spoke, his voice barely a whisper. "The Terran Federation's application for council membership is approved, unanimously." Chen smiled for the first time since entering the chamber. "Thank you. We look forward to working with you." As the council members filed out in shocked silence, Admiral Caraxes paused beside the human ambassador. "That ship, is it your most powerful vessel?" Chen's smile widened slightly. "Admiral, the Defiant is one of our training ships. Our actual military vessels are considerably more impressive." The Admiral's face went pale as he hurried from the chamber. Outside, the Defiant began its journey home, leaving behind a galaxy that would never again underestimate the species that had turned physics into poetry and space-time into their canvas.